do the recording also. So, can you people tell me for today's lecture that what are some strong forces? What is the basic example or the main example to represent any strong force? Is there any example in your mind?
Sir, magnetic force.
Yeah.
Sir, after this which period?
So, I was asking
Sir,
you people about to tell something about strong forces.
yes, sir. So, in some, my humble opinion, means the strongest force is the nuclear force.
Yeah, very good.
Why? Because it is a force which is charge independent, like one neutron and proton, proton and neutron and neutron. So, like these charges get a stability.
Very
These charges get stability between neutron proton n minus and p, like neutron proton. So it's a short range force, and it's strongest force in universe till and still the mankind have discovered.
Very good. Very good. Perfect answer. Okay. So, as this boy told me, and he replied a very good answer, a perfect answer, that the strongest force is supposed to be the nuclear forces, because there are many nucleons which are there present inside the nucleus. For example, there are what? Proton and neutrons. So, in between neutron, since neutron are what? They are, what type of the charge do they have? Which type of the charge? Whether it is positive, negative, or what? What do you people think?
Negative.
Oh,
Negative, sir.
The electrons
Negative,
have
sir.
negative.
Negative.
The electrons
electrons
have
have
negative
negative.
and protons have
Protons
positive.
have positive.
electrons have negative charge, but if we talk about neutron, then they are supposed to be neutral.
Neutral.
Yes, sir. Constant
have-
like.
Yeah, don't have this confusion in your mind. So, what we observe in that case of the nucleus, in nucleus, what we observe, we have what different number of protons and neutrons filled inside. So, the positive charge is just because of what? Protons which are there. So, in between proton, if two positive charge come close to one another, because the nucleus is of order of 10 to the power minus 15 meters. Okay, इसकी जो न्यूक्लियस की साइज होती है वो कितनी होती है 10 to the power minus 15 meters. It is very minute, very small. It cannot be observed with our naked eyes. So in that small area, there are several number of the protons which are supposed to be bounded. And in between proton, which type of the interaction is there? Since both are what? Positively charged particle. Proton is what? Positively charged particle. So when positive come close to one another, so there will be repulsion. And that repulsion is too strong. Okay, that repulsion is too strong. So we can say that the nucleons which are present there inside the nucleus shows what? Strong interactions among them. Okay, those shows the strong interactions. And with respect to those interactions only, if we measure what? Electrostatic interaction or electrostatic force, if we measure gravitational force, then gravitational force is supposed to be too weak in front of that strong force. Okay, so just don't have that doubt in your mind that gravitational force is strong forces. Okay, the gravitational force are supposed to be weak. If we compare the gravitational force in between two bodies with respect to the strong interaction which happens there inside the nucleus. Okay, you people can open up your NCERT book to study our today's lecture after all these discussion. So today's lecture is what? Second law of motion. Second law of motion. This is the today's topic. We have discussed first law. What is second law of motion? Second law of motion what tells?
Sir,
Say.
sir, the rate of The rate of a change of a movement is directly proportional to the internal unbalanced force
Not movement.
applied on a
Not movement, dear.
object.
Not movement. Momentum.
Momentum. Yes, sir, sorry.
But great. Since you have taken the initiative to reply, that's great. So, so the rate of change of momentum is equals to what? Is proportional to the unbalanced force which is applied on that body. Okay. If you open up your NCERT book, you can see on the page number 119, the second law of motion has been explained by giving different examples. Okay. For example, the first example which has been given there, the example of unbalanced force, that there is one truck. Okay. So if there is one truck which is standing still, okay, which is at the position of rest at particular position, okay, so when it will not move and there is the road is totally crowded, suppose, okay, and there is one truck which is there at rest position on the road. So until or unless that truck may not move or any force may apply on that truck to move the truck, so it will be at the position of rest only. And in that case, what happens, no matter how many people are there gathered around that truck, it will not harm anyone. Okay, it will not harm anyone. It will not go over any man who is standing there in front of the truck. Okay, so it will be not harmful to for the people at any cost. But if any initiative or any acceleration is given to the truck which is standing there, or suppose that someone has switched on the truck and he started moving in that entire crowd, so it may create a problem. It may create and kill many people. So what is the final conclusion? It depends upon, the killing is totally depending upon the mass of that truck and the velocity of that truck. Okay, the truck is having some mass in it and it has some velocity while it is moving in the crowd, and it's creating a very devastating scene everywhere. So it is killing when it is having some velocity, but when it is at the position of rest, then there is only one component, mass, and the velocity is what? Zero in that, in the position of rest. Okay, this is the position of what? Motion. This is the condition of motion. So what is the final conclusion? What is the final conclusion? What these observations suggest? That such incident which is happening in the crowd when the truck starts moving produce what? Some devastation, and that is totally depending on the mass of the truck and velocity of the truck by which the truck is moving. Okay, by which the truck is moving. That means if the truck is of suppose 10 tons, then it will obviously crush everyone. But if it is of 2 kilos, it is not possible. But let us assume that it is of 2 kilos. So if it get over me, then it will not hurt me. So the mass is very important parameter, and this mass and velocity together combines as multiplication. Okay, when they both get multiplied, then they create one product, and that product comes out to be the product known as the quantity of momentum. Okay, when we multiply this mass and velocity, then this gives what? Momentum. That is denoted by P. Momentum. Momentum is denoted by P. And to study this second law, because the second law says that the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the unbalanced force. Now some force has been applied by the engine. Then after that it started its motion like this. Okay, some inclination has been given to that track. So if we see when it starts moving, then the velocity, it is not necessary that when it is moving on the road which is crowded or there is a very heavy traffic, so this velocity is supposed to be constant in every case. It is not necessary. This velocity may vary. Sometimes it may be 20 km per hour, sometimes per hour, or sometime it may be 0. So that means the velocity is changing continuously. Okay, the velocity is changing continuously. Now, what we can say, how we can define the force which is acting on the truck? For example, if you are moving normally, if someone pushes you like this from your back, okay, if someone pushes you like this from your back, then all of a sudden your velocity will increase like this. In the same way, what is happening? Some force is acting on the back side of yours, and just because of that force, sudden impact which is there, which you felt while moving normally, what is happening? Just because of that impact, there is some change in the velocity of yours. Okay, now you feel a change in the velocity during your motion. So in the same way, when the truck accelerates, when the truck changes its velocity, so the change of the velocity is just because of the application of the force. The force which the engine is creating inside the truck. Okay, it creates a force along the axle. Okay, across the axle of the truck, it creates a force. It gives a force to move, to increase the velocity further. So that force which a truck is experiencing, with respect to time, with increasing time, it is experiencing the force. Okay, at some time it may have some velocity, and the velocity is generated just because of the force. The velocity is changing just because of the force. If someone is accelerating, that means engine is applying the force to accelerate that truck. At the same time, if someone is applying the brake, then what? Then in that case also the velocity is changing. So the velocity changes. The change in velocity is just because of what? Change in velocity is because of what? Force. And if there is a change in the velocity, then there should be some time also. Okay, in the time interval only we can measure the change in the velocity. We have discussed many examples. We have discussed that at t is equals to 0 second, the velocity is this much. In equation of motion, remember you people, at t is equals to 0 second, the velocity is this much, and after t is equals to 5 seconds, the velocity is something else. So the change is always measured in what? In certain time. Delta t, that is time interval. These things we have discussed. Are you people getting me what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the force which the engine is applying on that track to change the velocity continuously depends on some factors. Okay, so this force results in the change in momentum also. Force results in change in momentum also. For example, if initially the car has started at t is equals to 2 seconds, I measured the momentum is very less because the velocity is very less. Initially, when something starts, the velocity is less, and with increasing time, it increases if someone accelerates the body. Okay, so what I am assuming in this case of truck, that t1 initially the momentum is how much? Since momentum is mass into velocity. Okay, initially I am assuming that their mass is same. The mass of the truck is not varying. Mass will be same. The truck will not change while it's moving. So velocity is changing. Initially, we are having u velocity. This may be anything, any arbitrary value. Finally, after some interval of time, after t interval of time, I am having my momentum v, m into v. Now I am not having u, I am having v in this interval of time. After this interval of time, according to my observation. Are you people getting me? What I am wanting to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Sir, why we denote t as a delta t?
Sir,
because
sir, explain again once again.
I'm explaining why I denote this t as delta t, because we have talked
Yes, sir.
about the time interval. This shows the time interval, a time gap. For example, if someone asks you that in between this time interval of your free class, what you did? So in between 11:30 to 12:15, what you did? So that 45 minutes duration in between during your free class is what? A change in the time. 12:15 and 11:30. So T2 minus T1 many times we did. Okay.
So delta refers to change.
Yeah, it represents a change in the time with respect to initial and final point of observation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So delta is the time interval. That's why we say better to say in terms of delta instead of using simple t. Okay. So here what happens? Here is what happening that initially we know the formula of momentum like this. That if there is some mass, if there is some velocity, then momentum is represented in terms of mass and velocity like this. I've shown you the example of truck. The truck which is moving with velocity v having mass m. So initially, when you start move at some point of observation, at some time of 2 seconds, 3 seconds or what, someone has observed the velocity of that truck is supposed to be u. Because the initial point of observation, so initial velocity, that is u. And after some interval of time, suppose that after 10 seconds, after 40 seconds, the man observed the momentum of the truck to be m into v. Now the truck has the velocity of v. There are 2 points of observation. One is initial point of observation, one is final point. So this is what initial point of observation. Okay, this is what final point of observation. Clear? Everything is clear?
Yes, sir.
So now we are required to see the change. Now we are talking about the change in the entire journey. For example, a person has started measuring the count from here and till there he has noted down his count of time when the bus has reached to that destination. So in that destination, in that entire journey, in that entire length, how much there is a change in the momentum? So obviously, if this will be greater, velocity, final velocity is greater than that of the initial velocity. So in that case, what we do? This momentum term will be greater. In that case, if final is greater than initial velocity. So momentum is a function of velocity. So this component V2 will be greater than V1. Am I right? Are you people getting?
Sir, one question I have, sir.
Are you getting this much? First of all, 10.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what will happen?
Yes, sir.
We can write like this. Can we write like this?
Yes, sir.
Now, if someone asks you that what is the change of momentum when you reach that point, there what was your momentum, and when you have started your journey from here, what was your momentum here? So can you please tell me any mathematical difference in that? So in that case, what you do? You subtract.
Subtraction.
So the change, as we have observed the change in time, so similarly the change in momentum is denoted by delta. Delta P will be how much? V2 minus V1. This is small p. This is not capital P. Okay, this is small p. Is it clear till here? Now say what you want to say.
Sir, sir, initial point, sir, in your language, sir, in this sir, in this topic, initial point be 0 only, na?
It is not necessary. It is not necessary that initial point is.
Sir, you told that the bus starting from this side to another going, sir, from starting it will be in rest, then rest will be in 0.
It is not necessary. For example, if the bus has started its journey from here, from where I am standing, and the observer, always the person who do the experiment is supposed to be the observer, and observer is not here. Suppose that he is there in the middle of the path, in the middle of the length, entire length. Okay, so when he saw the bus, that the bus has reached there nearby him. So from here, there only he started triggering his clock. From there only he started opened up his clock. So the initial point of observation for that observer is that position. where the bus has reached nearby him. Not this position. This is the point of observation for me, but for the observer, it may lie in between the length. Are you getting me? So initial
Yes, sir.
observation depends upon the person who is doing the observation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now what you can say that this is the change in the momentum. So change in the momentum according to this formula can be written as what? Mv minus mu. Now we can write m is common in both. So that will be
Yes, sir. V minus U.
okay. This you can see that there is given in your copy also in book also. So now as we talked about in equation of motion, the rate of change of velocity. So in that I told you, if we talk about rate of change, so in that rate means with respect to time we are talking about. Okay, rate means we are talking with respect to time. Similarly, if we here talk about rate of change of momentum, so what we say, we are talking with respect to which parameter? Which parameter we are talking about? With respect to which parameter we are talking change?
Time.
Time. Okay. So rate क्या हो जाएगा? Rate of change of momentum will be what? Therefore, after writing here,
mv minus U upon T.
momentum will be what? Delta T upon T, or one can say delta T. Okay. This will be what? Rate of change of momentum. This is the next momentum in between final and initial point of observation. Upon rate means we have to divide it by time. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
instead of writing this T, I can write delta term also. Because we are talking about the change in time from initial to final or from final to initial. Okay. So according to this formula, what we can write m into v minus u upon, and suppose that the gap in the time, he started taking his observation from t is equals to 2 seconds, and he took this observation till t is equals to 10 seconds. So final time minus initial time, that is 10 minus 2 will be some time
8.
8. So let this be denoted by t. This can be. Okay. Either you write delta t or you write simply t. Okay. So this is what? This is the expression of rate of change of momentum. But rate of change of momentum is not represented ever by what? By this equality sign. Better to use the proportionality sign. Change in the momentum is the final momentum minus initial momentum, but there may be some constant value which may be coming here. So I am writing it with the help of proportionality instead of using this equality sign. Okay, so I am writing the proportionality sign like this. So now in next case, if we replace this proportionality sign, then it will be replaced by some constant. Okay, so now rate of change of momentum is represented by k into m into v minus u upon t. Okay, where k is what? K is some constant which has come here by replacing this proportionality constant. इसको जब हमने हटाया है तो वो क्या दिया है? इक्वालिटी के साथ क्या दिया है? K into m into final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. So this is the formula of rate of change of momentum. Yes.
So what is the value of K?
K can be anything. It depends upon your mode of calculation for different conditions. It can come 2, it can come 3, it can be 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, whatever. Okay. For different motion,
Yes, sir.
K is fixed. It depends upon the observer that what value he is taking in a suitable way. Now, what is the else format of the rate of change of momentum? This you can see that if we are talking about rate of change of velocity upon time, then this parameter is what we have studied already in the first chapter. Change of velocity upon time is what?
Acceleration.
Acceleration.
So this is what? A. So this can be written as what? A into m into A.
A.
This is written as k into m into A. And this rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum can be written as what? Force. This rate of change of momentum is equal to what? Force. So now here we get an equation of F. Force is denoted by F, and it is equal to what? Rate of change of momentum, and we have calculated the equation for rate of change of momentum, and force comes out to be what? F is equal to m into A with some constant. Sometime it can be 1. Sometimes this A can be 1 in some case. So F is equal to ma. This is the formula of what? Force. This is the formula of force. Okay, but better to write it in the general form. So this proves the Newton's second law. And Newton's second law says what? That rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force. Okay, this rate of change of momentum is we are getting is proportional to this applied unbalanced force. This is the applied unbalanced. This is applied unbalanced. Okay. In the same way, if we are talking about the truck, so it also experienced some unbalanced force by the engine to propagate in the straightway direction. Okay, so that unbalanced force which is applied by the engine on that truck to propel it in the forward direction is equal to what? Mass of the truck into acceleration of the truck with this constant. Is it okay?
Sir, what is the unit of momentum?
From here you can calculate. The unit of mass is what?
No, sir. That's a kilometer per second, sir.
What is
Meter
the
per second.
SI unit? I'm talking about SI unit. What is the SI unit of mass?
Sir, mass.
Kilogram.
Kilogram. What is the SI unit of
kg.
what is the SI unit of velocity?
Meter per second.
Meter per second.
Second.
So what
The
was-
meter per second.
now what
The
we-
meter per second.
Yeah. So this kg,
Kilogram meter per second.
kg meter per second. That is kilogram meter per second will be the unit of momentum. From formula you can conclude. Okay. If you are knowing the unit of mass, if you are knowing the unit of velocity, then you can conclude the unit of momentum also.